Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in and we'll see what questions you have. What's how can I what clarifications are you needing?
Well, from my point of view, what is not so clear is the concept of clarity. How
Okay.
should I work on it?
Um, in what sense? What is it that you're missing? What is the part that you're not feeling like you can get clear on?
No, especially the process of the waterfall.
Yeah.
I have Casper on the stage 4, and how should I be clear to them? I mean, how can I make more clear my service, my approach to them?
Well, if you go through like the next couple of days of exercise, that's the really important part of that. Once you've got them identified that your ideal client is in stage 4,
Mm-hmm.
then what happens from there is now you start in stage 4. How are they different than in stage 3 or stage 2, right? So the person who's in stage 4 has a certain set of traits and characteristics. And so if you do the perfect client attraction exercise that's in the model, then you start fine tuning, like what are their traits, their strengths, their weaknesses, what's going on in their life at that stage that's unique to them,
Yeah.
right? And then that starts getting you a little bit more clear about that. Then you go into the next stage, and it's like who's the person who serves a person in that stage,
Yeah.
right? So it's who else, because you don't want to shortcut this and just go get the client. Like I said, the goal of this exercise is to figure out, well, who are the complementary services in that
Yeah.
area. So like what is your service? What do you?
Well, I'm serving small entrepreneurs in the automotive field, like workshops or small dealers.
Interesting. Okay.
And I found out that dealer association, for instance, might be my shortcut.
Okay. Got it.
The point
And
is how to figure out what are they need, because I was quite frustrating when I discovered, well, I should stop my assumption. I assume that they need this, and that. On the opposite, what do they really need?
correct. Exactly. And it's easy. That's what we all do. So what I would say is what you need to think through is, okay, in those, the interpreters, who's the person who needs that the most? Is it the salespeople? Is it the dealership? Like from what perspective, why would that be something of value to them? Who are the other, and then when you fine tune that, like, so if you're talking about dealers, let's say, um, who are the other people that serve those dealers in a realm that you could partner with, right? So that way then you're both together approaching something of value for this person. And then if somebody else serves them, like what are the other services that these dealerships need along the same lines, like in terms of customer interaction, customer appreciation, improvement, etc. And then you want to be able to find those people who already have the relationships with those dealerships that they would want to bring you in because it makes sense to them. So when you help the dealer solve this problem, what other things do they get to do, right, as a result, so that it would benefit your partner? If you have a partner who like, what would be the benefit to that partner to bring you in, right? Like for me, as an example, we help people convert sales on the back end. So I have a lot of partners in the marketing space. And so when we're working with a client and their marketing is not fine-tuned, their funnels aren't working the way that they could or something, then I bring in these other marketers because they help me, right? If they generate more leads, then our team has more sales, right? So it's a direct benefit to me to have partners like that. Same thing with people who create courses and content. I have a lot of people in my world who create great content. And so if I'm teaching people how to sell and make more money, then you want to make sure that you have great content on the back end. Otherwise, you're going to lose those clients. So that's a great partner for me. So somebody who sells, who creates who does course creation would want to approach me because it's something that they understand the pains of my ideal client because they have the same client. So we're in common there.
Yeah, I see.
Right.
Well, so I'm wondering, for instance, like other partner that might be interested with leadership, like insurance company or tire suppliers or whoever, they might be also a good, how do you say, connection grabber or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's another good way to go. So and then what you want to think through there, and then you want to do this exercise on that. You want, it's like, okay, let's start thinking through I would say just put some more effort and energy into the levels of concern and pain and clarity that you're a client in that stage 4. So this is about, you're in stage 4, you're talking about somebody who's already been through problems, and now they're actually ready to listen. Now they're ready to engage you because they've survived going through, what it's like not to have you.
Yeah.
And so now you want to start thinking about that. What are the other services that come to them and that say, what are the problems that they go through as a result of not having learned their lesson going through the waterfalls?
Yeah, there are plenty of them. And I'm wondering, for instance, how to cope with the new market, because the automotive market is changing, dramatically changing, and they get despaired because the turnover and the profit is dropping down, and they already face this. So how can I sustain them? This might be the key point for.
Right. And so what is the outcome of the service you provide?
I prepare strategies for them. I prepare business plans.
Okay.
And I provide also some coaching to improve the efficiency into the dealership.
So something to think about is I would probably reach out to people who know that, who know the other side of that for them, CPAs and accountants, attorneys, right? Because they know the status of their clients. So if I'm a CPA and I've got car dealerships that I work with, and I got car dealerships that are struggling with their money, and I know that if they can't pay their bills, they can't pay me. Then I would want to bring in somebody like you. And as a CPA, I have influence and authority with those people. So it's not just a recommendation, right? I would call into them and I would say, hey, here's what we need. You need to do this, because if not, you guys are going to be hurting. So you need to bring in my friend Moro, and he can provide some value. So what you want to be able to do first is, what's the value you can provide to a CPA that he would be able to see your brilliance and how much you care and know about their client, that then they would want to be able to introduce you to his collection of clients. Like he could put you in an email or in a newsletter, right, with some great tips and strategies and insights. So that's how I would reach out with and say, hey, here's some things that I would love to share with your list through you. And so that way you're leading with that value. You're giving something first, right? And then you have that conversation with them about that. And then because you want to position, he might not think about that. Like a CPA might just be transaction based, doing the books, thinking, well, this guy's not doing too well, right? Well, that's great, but what about, if he goes out of business, you lose a client. So you want to make sure he understands you can help him keep a client longer, and not just stay in business longer. That client will also have loyalty to the CPA who brought him, because you helped him save his business, right? So he's demonstrating care and concern for his clients in ways that keep loyalty. So it's not just that he saves a client, he increases the likelihood that that client stays with him long term.
Correct. All right. Great. Thank you so much. Now it's much more clear.
Good. Yeah. Sometimes, you just got to ask the right questions. But that would be great. That's exactly the kind of partnership that you want to be thinking about.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. All right.
Thank you
Joanna,
so much.
Right. What's going on with your bad self?
Hi, how you doing?
Good. What's shaking?
Not much. I'm probably gonna go get some leads. No.
Good deal. I appreciate you guys jumping. I have just been wrecking myself trying to get this damn technology to work the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah, mine wasn't working right away either, and I couldn't jump on, so I had to find another way. But I'm glad I'm here. I'm ready to listen to the Q&A of, my ideal client. I think. Do you mind if I ask a question right now?
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Okay, great. So, you went through the waterfall and then down and out, right?
Yeah.
So in real estate investing, I have people like that think it's a great idea. They haven't like damaged themselves yet, right? And then I have the people that have damaged themselves, is recovered. They have another business and they're going to put their funds back into real estate.
Right.
So they're kind of, both of them are floating kind of clients, if you will. So I have two different kinds of clients, but they're both floating.
Right. Yeah. And if you look at everybody, I think everybody has some version of that, right?
Okay.
You obviously know our business model. You're on the inside of it. So you have to do this exercise for each one separately. It's easier to try to, it's really inviting to want to try to figure out how to capture all of it in one spot and then just dissect them. And you can do it. It's less effective. I mean, it's just, if you want the kind of relationships where people just absolutely, I just got a text message from Josh Turner introducing me to Todd Herman saying, hey, you got to do your launch with Jim. Todd's showing up ready to buy, right? Because of the relationship I have with Josh. He's not showing up to find out if I can help him with sales training. He's not trying to find out if I can help him with building teams or creating funnels. He's specifically coming here because we are positioned well as the outsourced sales team for launches. And that, I mean, I guess I'm probably sharing more publicly than I need to at the moment, but that's an example, right? Of stay in that lane. We worked with Josh for 1.5 years before he ever even knew that we also worked live events. That was shame on me, but that's how in our lane we were. He just, right? Launch guy, launch. And as you know, again, he's also sent several referrals our way over the years. And that's a direct result of being crystal clear in that lane. While at the same time, once we master that lane, then we go into another lane and master it. But you can't. Here's probably the biggest distinction that I can provide on multiple channels is you can work in multiple lanes. You can't master the multiple lanes at the same time.
Gotcha.
Master one, then you get it streamlined, then you open the next lane. Then you get it streamlined, now you can open another lane. Because once it's mastered, then you also have probably efficiency, right? Efficiencies of infrastructure, you have teamwork in it, you have everything's working the way it should. So it's leveraged. Now you can actually put more focus on the other lane. So figure out which ones of those lanes are A, more profitable, B, more exciting. What do you want to do? I mean, don't do the one just because it makes more money if it doesn't excite you, right? Find the one that you're actually going to pour into.
Okay. It kind of all excites me. So maybe I'm the problem here. It brings out my mad scientist of, where they want to be in real estate, because it depends, like, who they are, because everyone's like a fingerprint.
Yep.
Every situation is. So I've done the newbie thing for so long, and I've done, my own investing for so long.
Right.
And now I'm doing apartment buildings. So I guess I could just stay in that lane and get the person that recovered back over and that is floating right now.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Please jump in, Tom. Sure.
Hey, Joanna, Tom here. Knowing that area really well, I would think that the audience of the recovering bad experience person is so much more motivated to listen and so much more motivated to take action and not be a pain in the butt, especially high ego men who, well, I got it all figured out, blah, blah, blah. And then they get burned and they're like, oh, I guess I don't. I'm not 29 and a billionaire. Son of a gun. And so to me, the other factor to look in is not are both useful audiences, but what is swimming downstream, I call it, instead of swimming upstream. And I know, do you know Mike Wolf in that field?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mike has done amazing things because he was the basket case off the cliff doing it wrong. And it cost him massively. And then he learned not to be. And it's not like you meet him and it's like, he's genuine. It's not some hero's journey story that he crafted in a workshop over a weekend. It's genuinely what happened. And it's just so much easier for him now. It's like, yeah, no problem. You want to learn from my mistakes? Great. You don't want to learn from my mistakes? See ya.
Yeah. He's awesome. Thanks for bringing that up because he's a great model.
Yeah. The other thing to think about on that is who would some of these you can come up with just tripping over them on your way to the grocery store. So that might not be a lane you need to focus that intention effort on. But maybe an apartment building investor isn't somebody you're going to trip over on your way to dinner. So maybe that's a place where you really want to put some effort into generating some strategic partnerships around, because you can then the partnerships are easier to find than the clients, right? A lot of times that's the case.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So think about that too. And then, especially in that lane, you're doing apartment buildings, one deal has a pretty good ROI as opposed to if you're looking for the newbie, the guy who's starting to do the fix and flips, et cetera, more effort on your part, less ROI. Yeah. So I would focus on the one that a partnership can open the door to the higher payoff clients, especially if it's something that you're excited about and you can pour into really well.
Yeah. Awesome. Good feedback. Thank you both.
Great. Thomas, what's going on?
Hey, bud. I appreciate I appreciate everything about these 5 days, except how you beat up on yourself about technology. Don't beat up on yourself. Just, you know what? I would much rather, and I'm sure the rest of people would agree, I'd much rather someone who knows what the heck they're talking about and struggles with tech than someone who's perfect with tech and they're a complete waste of time to be there.
Amen.
But having said that, I love this. This has been great. I love digging down. I have a specific question from today.
Okay.
Let me get to my notes on that. I don't know if you had a chance to see my post, but I basically said there are 3 ideas. There's one I've been using to build the relationships with partners, which is our master classes themselves, because they work so incredibly well and they get raving fan thank you emails. I realized though, with that one, I get the raving fan thank you emails. They don't.
Right.
And so that was like a little superstar insight, because that's really easy. All I got to do is check and see where the tags are from and forward it over. Hey, here's what this person said. You should know this, right? Get someone to take care of that. But then I also came up with 2 others, and I love your input as to which way you think would be the most impactful for our audience, because we're looking for dolphins with scale and legacy, right?
Right.
One is to offer to do a launch call with the partner, where we actually create a high ticket, high margin program for them right on the spot. Whether or not they work with us, just create it for them, do it in an hour, hour and a half, and turn them loose. Or I was thinking of creating, this morning I thought of creating a 5-day challenge equivalent on how to create your own masterclass, because you know how much of a fan I am about that methodology and how much more scalable it is and more quality of life.
Right.
It's not suited to an hour, hour and a half call though, because there's just layers to it that just can't be done instantly.
Yeah.
But it is suited to this type of 5-day format. It could actually work, and that could be offered to their tribes with, of course, some emphasis on them, or we could use them as an example, a case study throughout the 5 days or whatever. They may not want that in front of their tribe though. So do you have a preference as to which direction?
Yeah, I think, my experience of working with, partners who have a big following is it's probably a greater barrier to try to get to actually do something for them, because they feel like they got the plan already sewed up, but they're probably much more apt to have for you to be able to provide a service that they don't, that is of greater need to their people. And that, that might even be a question, I mean, to ask people, because I think, I can't remember which video I would touch base in it on, but just because somebody's doing it doesn't mean they want to do it. Yeah. Right? There's people who probably are teaching some of the steps you're teaching, like I do with sales training. And there's a ton of people who teach sales, but they kind of suck at it. But they feel like it's a necessary part of their program, so they throw it in a module. Yeah. Like, well, let's get rid of that. Let's find a way to make you look like the hero. And that's really the perspective that I come from this, is how can I make you the hero to your people?
So that would be definitely the masterclass one of those then, for sure.
Yeah.
Because that, everyone's teaching how to do a webinar because you're supposed to.
Right.
And webinar effectiveness has gone through the floor.
Right.
And this is a completely fresh take on it, and it works better, like dramatically better. So I can see that. Okay.
Yeah. And of course, the great part of that is there's going to be a lot of people who say, absolutely not. And that's great. Those aren't the ones that you're looking for. But I'm totally with you on the masterclass perspective, because, we're going to be doing a class on Monday following up this. And we were jokingly going to call it the masterclass live event webinar tutorial video with Jim. I still might. I'm kind of clowning with
At least the subtitle. At least the
Yeah.
subtitle.
Exactly. Cool.
Cool. Love it. Thank you, Jim.
Right on. Fawn, I see you in there. You have a question, or are you here to watch?
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I'm on video. I better put something together.
That's all good. You look great.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was hoping to be on earlier. I got the wrong link. So yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
I'm trying to sort this out. I've been doing this for years, and I'm shifting things because I've been working last couple of years doing Facebook ads,
Okay.
which have really grown my list, but it has not been converting very well. And I'm loving the whole flow, everything you put in, and realizing, okay, the people I work with are on the stage 4.
Okay.
And they've crashed and burned in their relationships, and don't want to do that again. And they're ready to make some major changes. So I've thought about partners. One is divorce attorneys. And then others that are a little more approachable for me are people who serve professional women, like financial coaches, health coaches, all of that. But where I've run into the challenge before in the past in working with partners, at least in my mind, and maybe you can help me break through this, is that their audience is not necessarily single women. My target is single women. So when I bring in my talk or whatever, I'm speaking to just a narrow slice, or maybe half, I don't know, but a slice of their audience. And that's where I get a little bit off as far as like, how do I bridge that gap in?
Well, I see that every audience has nuances. No matter what, there's going to be an 80-20 rule anywhere you go. What I try to do is put myself in the position of increasing the likelihood that the 80 is always in my favor, right? And so it's kind of like being a general contractor versus a roofer, right? If you can get in front of a bunch of general contractors, they're all interested in roofing. But if you can get in front of a roofers convention, now you're in business.
Right.
Now you're speaking their language, you're singing their jam. So first of all, I mean, some of this is a process too, because while you're trying to find the ideal ones, you're going to find the ones that may be semi-ideal. And as long as if you're doing a talk and I'm in the room after, and maybe you're showing up to talk to women, but you have information that's of value to me, I got no problem sitting through that talk. That I can totally buy into that, especially if you can teach me in that talk how to impart this wisdom into another woman. Right. So that would be the first step. But I would say that knowing how many people, even just in this coaching industry alone, that just serve women, I wouldn't think you'd have a tough time finding an audience where you just have all of your people in the same place.
Right.
There's a lot of people who serve women only.
Yes.
My beautiful wife, Cyndi, she's got a program that she's putting in place to serve, successful entrepreneur women on that rise from 6 to 7 figures.
Sure. No, there are lots of people that serve women. There are very few, except other dating or relationship coaches, who serve single women. A lot of the women are coupled or married or.
Got it.
My audience is single.
Okay. Well, I would say take another pass through the perfect client exercise and just really dive deeper into that. Like give yourself, I used to do this as the first stage 1 exercise whenever we took on a new sales training client. That step 1 is take that list, go into a room with a cup of tea, a glass of wine, whatever floats your boat, and spend an hour, lock the door, and just don't come out of there until you've exhausted yourself on options. So don't just come up with like 10 or 15 traits, come up with 150. Just get to the level of nuance so you know everything about this person, and then you can start going, okay, who else serves those specific needs? And you'd be surprised that there are more people out there serving the complementary, and that person may be further upstream. Maybe you're in stage 4, your ideal partner might be somebody who serves them in stage 3. Like they're the crisis manager.
That's why I was thinking divorce lawyers.
Yeah, that's a possibility for sure. Right. And then if they have a true heart for this, I mean, they don't want a repeat client, I'm assuming. So they would be a natural partnership for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah. Cyndi, Padilla, did you have some questions? That why you're here? You here to learn some stuff or share some wisdom? Or she went to the bathroom. All good. All right. So how are you guys? Got it. Go handle your business, Tom. Glad to see you, buddy. So how are you all handling the concept? Is there any questions around just, splitting that time and that function, like today's exercise, or, what's about the T chart, and just really getting honed in on what level of time you're spending looking for partners. And I would even say, one of probably the most important part of that exercise is just actually owning the fact that you may not even be spending any intentional time at all. You're just kind of randomly doing it. So if you're, at the very least, if this puts you in a position of calendaring your marketing time, then it is worth its weight in gold just from that. So the time that you're doing outreach and reaching out to clients, the only shift that I want to really tweak in there for you is, instead of using that time to outreach and market, knocking on doors to find a client, start knocking on doors to find partners, because it's 100% of the time I knock on doors to find partners. Clients just show up. They're in the mix, because a lot of times talking, the conversations you're having with people, it just shows up. You're here, you're showing up a service, you're putting value out for people. I mean, we've gotten tremendous response even with this challenge. We're just, we're giving value, and obviously the return is people are going to see that we have value, that we know what we're doing, that we have value, hopefully, to your community, to the people that you serve, and the people you want to share it. And realistically, people are also going, as a result of this, people are going to want to work with us because they see what we can do and how we can help you. And so you want to be in that same frame of mind all the time. There was a time when a class like this would be thought to be really stupid because you're giving away too much, which you can see that. And I do. But my problem is I have a tendency to want to give too much, because, it took me a while to shorten this up. These videos are 10, 12, 15 minutes. I think today's the longest one, is 16. And they started out like 35 and 40. Because I had to pull out stuff to make it consumable so that you wouldn't be like entrenched and overwhelmed with content. Because I got lots. All right. So that's the piece I want to say. So as you're taking this stuff in, I want to make sure that you're really buying into the concept of doing this work, doing the steps. I promise you guys, this stuff has, all of these exercises have massive ROI in terms of time, effort, and energy. Any project, anything you take on that's worthwhile is front-loaded with effort, back-loaded with results, and this is no different. Put the effort in, and you will see the payoff on the back end. It just happens. It shows up in spades. And then you get this level of clarity, and then it's going to help you from there, start executing and know where to take it and what to do. So reach out, stay involved, stay engaged, keep doing the work, share the results, comment on other people, watch the responses that other people are giving. That might help you clarify some of your responses. Comment on theirs, engage. Hey, who knows, you might even find a client in there. But work together, support each other, encourage each other, and just, this is a shared experience. This is not about me and my brilliance and my knowledge. This is about you being able to just show up and make shifts and changes, and that's the exciting part for us. So totally appreciate your trust in the process and being able to lean on us, and we'll see you tomorrow. We ain't done.